I don't know. The desire
It's a
is
danger
wavering.
zone.
It
It's
is.
one of the things that I, have been researching with my book because I have this sort of human physiology thread that I've woven through the
Yeah,
whole
starting
thing,
with your Impossible
and
Climb book.
and
Yeah, a little bit.
I've I've looked at all the data, and the graphs and everything, and the risk um, the risk of dying on Mount Everest goes exponential at, I'm trying to think,
Oh, in terms of your age?
55, I think,
Really?
right around there. 50s, it starts climbing. It's like
Yeah.
pretty flat. Like you can be 20s,
45.
30s, 40s,
Yeah.
up to 50. I'm 40. Well, I'm 50 now, but I was 49.
Yeah.
And it's like pretty flat.
No
And then
doubt.
you get to early 50s and it just frickin' goes vertical.
Huh. Interesting.
And the other thing that's interesting is that 50 and below. So there's a really interesting analysis that's out right now. This data scientist saw all the stuff, the viral photo and everything, and was like, oh, like there's this thing called the Himalayan database where they've recorded everything that's ever happened in the
Yeah, starting in
Himalaya. Go,
1963,
go,
I think.
no, going back all the way. It goes all the way back to
Oh, and Liz Hawley
To
picked up
Mallory
the.
and Irvin.
Really?
They have all the data.
Wow.
So this data scientist thought, okay, well, how about if I look at the question of the crowds on Everest through the data and analyze it as a data scientist who knows nothing about climbing and
Yeah.
see like what it tells me. And I looked carefully into this, and one thing is that the same number of 30-year-olds, or people in their 30s, the same number are climbing Everest in 2019 as were in the 1980s.
Really?
And all of the growth is in the 50-year-old demographic.
No doubt.
And the reason, I think,
Financial
is
or
that people can't afford it until
yeah.
they've gotten into, that phase of life where you've sort of achieved your maximum earning potential. And,
Wow.
and so
Yeah.
people want to do it. They're dreaming about it their whole lives. And then they
Mm.
finally get to the point where they're like relatively
This is
financially
it.
secure.
Yeah.
And so there's a shit ton of 50-something-year-olds
Yeah.
and 60-year-olds, right?
Damn.
Who are trying to climb the mountain.
Right.
The other thing that was really interesting was that the odds of success, they're not increasing exponentially, but they're increasing linearly.
Yeah.
And nowadays, in 2019, so modern contemporary era, your chances of success are about 80%.
Damn.
So 50 years of age and below, 4 out of 5 people are making the summit. And 50 and above, 50%.
That's still really good. That's really good odds. Think about that.
And so
Damn.
The explanation is that, like all the stuff that we read about it into thin air and the sort of the commercialization
Yeah.
of Mount Everest
Mhm.
and the Everest guiding industry. I mean, it's run by some pretty savvy, like smart guys like Eric Simonson and Russell Bryce, and
They know how to get people up the
Guy
mountain.
Cotter and Adrian Ballinger
You
and your
talked about
buddy
Carrie Culver, Mike Hamill.
Mike Hamill.
Yeah.
I mean, these guys are pretty sharp, and they're
Oh, yeah.
veterans. And basically, they dissected this thing.
Yeah,
They turned it into a science. They got it all figured out. The route's fixed. The Sherpas, for the most part. I mean, there's some problems mixed in because you got your discount Everest
Yeah, but these
outfitters
guys
and stuff. But
that you
like the
just
high
named,
end,
yeah,
they've got it dialed.
Yeah.
and they figured it out, and they turned it into kind of a science, and as a
Yeah.
result,
They get people up.
80% of people who are going for it are making it
That is,
to the top. The oxygen systems are, really efficient, and
oh my,
they're all
yeah.
figured out and everything. And I mean, still amongst that, you still have the story of May 23rd,
Mm.
which really, and I mean, I wrote 70 pages about it. It's a complete shit show. What happened?
Yeah.
And like I had a tough summit day. Like I thought climbing Everest was really difficult,
Yeah.
and I was just sort of totally like dumbfounded by how difficult it was actually to do it.
Mm.
And I thought, oh, I got my ass kicked. It was so hard. When I heard the stories of what other people went through,
Mm-hmm.
I was like, oh wow, we styled that.
Yeah. You
Like
had it
we
easy.
cruised it compared, like people spending the next night out, people coming down at the very end of the day in the dark and having to spend the night and barely even making it to high camp.
Like sitting out.
And people summiting like in the afternoon and like on the south side, and then dying on the way down from exhaustion and whatever else, like all kinds of stuff. So yeah, it's kind of crazy. Like the numbers say that 4 out of 5 people make it, but a lot of people are dying. It's actually well, overall, big picture, it's like around 1%.
Die.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's one
I
out
think
of
that's
one out of 100. And
Not
most
bad.
people, I mean, our
Most
chance.
people
I mean, your chance of dying from cancer, I think, is like 50-50
That's
over the
insane.
course
what
of
the
your
hell?
life.
Yeah.
Over the course of your
Yeah.
life.
Let's go
And
to
that
Everest,
may be
baby.
from old age.
Yeah.
I tried to use that with Hampton. When she asked me at one point, she said,
So
like,
you're
what are
gonna
we
die.
talking about here? Like, what are the odds that you don't come home?
1%.
And I tried to do a little mumbo jumbo there, and I was like, yeah, 1%, and then compare it to other stuff. But she's pretty smart, and she was like, oh, I mean, come on, dude. Like, everybody dies on Everest on summit day. So the 1% is on one day. That's
Good
way
point.
different than the
Then
lifetime
spreading it out. That's
lifetime odds. So on summit day,
Mm-hmm.
and this is what Jamie told us, and this is why we didn't go,
Mm-hmm.
right? On the day that Everest broke, there were, I guess it was something like 800 people went for the summit that day.
On both sides.
Between the two sides,
Yeah.
between the north and the south side. You're talking 1%. So out of every
8 people.
posse of 100, one of them isn't coming back. You got 800 people. You got 8
Wow.
people who aren't going to survive. And
Incredible.
and that's just how it works. But the thing, that's why I was kind of asking you, like, why you want to go back. But
I'm not sure if I do.
I mean, it's a
honest.
really interesting thing
Yeah.
to think about, and I've been thinking about it a bunch, and you and I, have talked about it. But
Yeah.
just in terms of risk taking, and like, why would you lay it all on the line like that?
Mm.
And that's what Mallory and Irvin did, and that's
Yeah.
something that I'm interested in.
But they hadn't been there.
But
Yeah.
I've been a climber my whole life, and so I have sort of my own appreciation for risk and all that, and it's really relevant today. We're sitting here, during a global pandemic, and like, what are your odds, of dying from this, and how you're going to modify your behavior accordingly. But the whole thing. I mean, I guess there's sort of an interesting parallel to be drawn, because I like to sort of apply logic to things,
Mm-hmm.
and I like to sort of deduce things in that way. And when you do that with our current situation here, on June 20th, 2020,
Yeah.
if you follow it to its logical conclusion, you pretty much can't leave your house.
If you want to play it real safe.
If safety is the game, and living, tell the tale of going through this, then you can't really leave your house. But that's sort of no way to live.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I'm kind of just like making this up as I go, but
Riffing a little
but
bit,
in a
but I
way,
agree with you.
in a way, it's sort of like that with climbing too. You know, like how much risk are you willing to take? The more you're willing to take, the more spice you're gonna get.
Yeah.
And the spice
yeah.
is the spice of life.